Hello, Mr. Five's math class. We're going to talk about what's going to be taking place in week 5 in math. We're going to talk about how to estimate sums and differences of whole numbers and decimals. We're going to learn how to add and subtract decimals, and we're going to learn how to complete long division using partial quotients. So the first thing we're going to do at the beginning of the week is learn how to estimate sums and differences of whole numbers and decimals. So this is going to be a little bit of review because we've done rounding, so it's going to be very similar to rounding. So for example, 3 and 6 tenths plus 1 and 7 tenths, we're going to round the 3 and 6 tenths to 4, and the 1 and 7 tenths to 2, and we'll say 4 plus 2 is 6. So for decimals, we're always going to round to the nearest whole number. If we get to just regular whole numbers, we're going to round to the highest place value for each number. Then we're going to move on to adding and subtracting decimals. So there's a little system here. 3 steps we'll be able to add and subtract decimals. The first thing that we want to do is line up the decimal points. So if we have 71 and 65 hundredths plus 14 and 7 tenths, we're going to line them up by the decimal point here. The next step, we're going to fill in empty spots with zeros. That makes sure that we have a value or a digit in every place value to make it easier to line up the numbers. So we're going to do that, and then before we add or subtract, we're going to drop the decimal point down. So that's why it's important to line them up first, drop it straight down, then we can just do our addition. 5 plus 0 is 5, 6 plus 7 is 13, so we leave the 3, we'll carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 4 is 6, 7 plus 1 is 8. So our answer would be 86 and 35 hundredths. The last thing that we're going to do during the week is we're going to start completing long division. So we're going to look at it 2 ways. The first way we're going to look at is a conventional way. This might be some steps to go through it. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburger recipes? So that stands for we're going to divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down, and then either we're going to repeat our steps or we're going to have a remainder and we're finished. We're also going to look at how to complete long division using partial quotients. So we're going to take a look at that. That's going to be new for probably all the students, but we're going to take a look at it, and students can decide which one works best for them. But we're going to talk about why the partial quotients would be more beneficial to learn it that way. Alright, so we're going to take a look at both ways of long division. The first way we're going to look at is the conventional way. So we'll put our problem up here. We're going to put 528 divided by 23. So in conventional way, or the way we've learned how to do this, the first thing you're going to do is say, can 23 go into 5? It cannot. So now we're going to say, can 23 go into 52? It can. It can go into it 2 times. And 2 times 23 is 46. And then when we subtract, we're going to get 6. And we will check. So, is 6 less than 23? Yes, it is. So we can continue. We're going to bring down the next number, which is the 8. And then we repeat. If we bring something down, we'll repeat it. So we'll say 23 goes in 68. How many times? Well, if we do times 2 is 46. If we go times 3, it's 69. That's going to be too big. So we're going to put another 2 up here. And 2 times 23 is 46. And we subtract, and we're going to get 22. We check, that's less than 23. We don't have anything else to bring down, so our remainder is 22. So our answer is 22, remainder 22. So that's the way that we've always learned how to do our long division. So now we're going to look at a way to do the long division using partial quotients. The reason why I think this might be more beneficial is the conventional way. We're trying to take a number in the place values into other place values that it wouldn't make sense to do. So for example, we're trying to take 23 into 5, but it's really not 5, it's 500. So what we want to try to do is take 23 into 528. So what we're going to do with the partial quotients is we're going to draw a line over here, and you'll see where this line comes in a second. So a lot of times in partial quotients, we want to do numbers times 10 or times 100. We want to try to make it easier to try to figure it out and take as much time away from trying to do the multiplication and more about trying to find what our quotient is to our problem. So anytime you're doing a number times 10, we're just going to add a 0 to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to say 23 could go into 28, but we're going to try to take 23 into the whole thing, 528. But we're going to do it with quotients of 10 or partials of 10. So 23 times 10 would be 230. So that's what we're going to start with. So we're going to put a 10 here. This is what we're going to multiply by. So we're going to do 23 times 10 is 230. So we're going to put 230 right here, lined up with our 10, because that's what we multiplied by. And then we're going to subtract. So 8 minus 0 is 8. And we're going to have to borrow here. We get 12 minus 3 is 9. And then 2 minus 4 is 2. Sorry about the 2. So we have 298. So 230 is close to 298. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 23 times 10 again. We're going to put the 10 over here. That's what we're multiplying by. 23 times 10 was 230. Then we're going to subtract again. 8 minus 0 is 8. 9 minus 3 is 6. And 2 minus 2 is 0. So we're down to 68 now. So now 23 can go into 68. How many times can 23 go into 68? Well, we know it's going to be more than once. So we're going to do twice, because as we said before, times 3 would give us 69. So we're going to do times 2. And 23 times 2 is 46. And when we subtract, we're going to get 22. Now, we can't take 23 into 22. We don't have any other numbers, so that's going to be our remainder. Is 22, which matches over here. So how do we get this other 22? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to add up our partial quotients. So we have 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 2 is 22. So our answer is 22, and we have a remainder of 22. I know this is definitely new for a lot of students and probably for parents, but we're going to really take our time trying to learn how to do it this way. I think it could work out for students, but like I've told the students before and the parents, either way works. So whatever you feel more comfortable with, you can try to do. I feel like this one, the partial quotients way, will be a little more beneficial and easier to do. You don't have to do as much multiplication. We're going to do our times 10 facts, so we can just add zeros to numbers. So we're going to try some things out, but I want to really try that this week with the students and into next week. So we'll see how it goes. But it should be a pretty exciting week, learning many new things. So if you have any questions, just make sure you email me, and there's some videos and games for this week. So I will see all you kiddos in the classroom, and parents, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get a hold of me.